Hi, welcome to my tutorial. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make modules in-game that can be used to do texture swaps. So right now we have an item here that has a red bodysuit. We have options available to be able to do a blue, a gray, a pink, and the red. In-game it would look like this. So today I'm going to be showing you how to take what would normally be a base armor layout like this and turn it into something that's kind of scary like this. This allows it to be in-game, have selections to change the bodysuit color, and then as well as the armor color, because we have two separate meshes here which use two separate textures. For the tutorial I'm only going to be showing you how to do the armor suit. The bodysuit. So let me close these down because I don't need them open right now. And we're going to start with a brand new ESP. I'm going to do this because there's a couple little tricks that you're going to need for being able to do this the right way. So first, I have a list of vanilla references that I use for doing copies, so that way I don't have to create everything by hand. So I'm going to do that really quick. We can copy that over, just make a copy into a new file. And we're going to name this just tutorial. Make it really simple. And we're going to need an ARMO record. Copy that one. Now I like to use the vest here because it has a lot of details that pertain to most armors that I would be working with. Let's see, call that 2.1. Put that in our file. And we're going to need a craftable object because I like to be able to craft everything in game. I don't like when people say, oh, use this item code. It's kind of a pain in the ass. So call that. So now we can close all this down because we don't need any of that. And we have a list of the three items that I just copied. So first let's clean that up so it specifies to the armor piece that we're working with. So I'm using an actual item that someone else made. I did not make this myself. We have the tactical file, the first person view, and he has gloves. I'm not going to be doing the gloves in the tutorial because they're just extra items that don't need to be here. So we're going to start with updating our world model. I'm sorry, actually we don't need to do that. We just need the female because there's only a female piece on this. So I'm going to go ahead and copy over the path. Now in xEdit we don't need to put in the meshes folder because that's automatically added, as well as the materials folder, which is what we're going to be doing later for the material swaps. So let me clean that up really fast. Oops. And that one's done. Whoops, actually I'm going to need the reference ID for that. Since I'm going to be needing to copy reference IDs, which are the IDs over here, to be able to add in on the other pieces, if you highlight it, hit F2, it goes into edit mode, which you can just easily copy and paste. So I'm going to copy that since I'm going to need that right down here. Oops, actually I forgot. For me, I don't like having all these bipeds. We only need the body, and everything else looks okay. Go back into armor, and since this is kind of a bodysuit, I'm going to end up actually change the name before I forget. So it calls tutorial armor. I don't need an enchantment effect, so I'm going to delete that. The world model, I actually have a copy because I like to use vault suit for a lot of just general clothing. Sometimes you can use a sweater vest. Since this is kind of like a vault suit, I'm just going to leave it with the vault suit. Change our biped again. And the reason that I used the pre-war sweater vest as the base item to make a copy of, it has the ability for the railroad clothing, which is the ballistic weave, and we can easily add in legendary effects. So if you have the mod that allows you to add and remove legendaries, you can do that, as well as using console commands. If you don't have a legendary keyword on it, which I can do really quick here, just add that in. You can hit F2, it'll give you a nice little drop down list here. Since I know what it's called, I'm just going to type it in, which is AP legendary. That allows us to add legendary mods to this piece. Obviously I'm not going to be doing that in here that's not part of this tutorial. Let's see what else. We need to change the armature, point to our ARMA add-on, and I may be going a little fast for some people. Whoops, and I deleted off the ID, so we get that back. I do assume that some people that will be watching this would have some experience with xEdit. If you don't, there are many other tutorials that explain how to do that. I recommend those. I could not do them justice by trying to replicate them. From here, we're going to be coming back to this OBTE section a little bit later, actually towards the very end, which is where I have it listed down here for my little notes. We'll need to come back down here for putting in the default mods that get added when the item is created. So we'll come back, create a constructible. We don't need conditions. Actually, you know what? One second, I will. Instead, we're going to change this to be has perk, because I want it to have the perk armor here, and that's good. And this is of course going to create our ARMA object. Oops, and I totally forgot about that. Be careful which one do you hit F2 on to get your list. Like this one here, you can see it's taking a little while. It's creating a list of every single reference ID on every mod that's loaded. Easier way and better way for some of these is to right click on them and go to edit, which I'll show you as soon as it gets unfrozen here. Takes a little while to load. Alright, so if we were to right click and just choose edit, it pops up a box that we can just type into really quick. So I'm going to be doing that. And since this is our ARMA construction, we're going to need to add in a workbench and a category. You can right click on them. Well, actually now I already have it. You can right click and hit add. It gives you a null that you can edit. Now I have a list of my ChemLab workbench and the utility recipe. If you're using ArmorSmith Extended, you will use their appropriate workbench and recipes. But since I'm doing a vanilla add-on, we're going to go ahead and just use these. And we wanted to create one item when we do this, and we are all set there. So next up is we need to create a filtering keyword. So we're going to go in and add in a keyword section since we don't have one. If you're doing this from an existing mod, you may already have keywords, in which case go ahead and just add a new one. So we're going to add a new one, give it a reference ID, doesn't matter what it is. We do need an editor ID and a TNAM. The TNAM needs to be unknown 5. That is used for the MA keywords. You can use unknown 2 for the AP keywords. If you go into edit, it does give you a list. They're all unknown. Hopefully once creation kit gets out and the guys with xEdit programming fix that so that we have somewhat more descriptive names and know what the hell we're doing. Anyway, I'm going to give it an editor ID just to make it easy. Again, it doesn't matter what the name is, it's just for our own reference at this point. You can, if you were doing AP keywords, under full name, you'd put in like a default category name, so that when it shows up, if you don't have a mod attached, that's the name that will show up. Since we're not doing APs in here, we're going to reuse some vanilla keywords, because there is some bugs in there where if you create additional AP keywords, it causes overflows and stuff doesn't show up right. So I'm going to be using the AP gun barrel for this tutorial. If you're doing multiple items where you needed multiple categories, or even a single item with multiple categories, for example, like in this armor, we have the option of doing the bodysuit and then also doing the armor itself. When I originally did it, I set it up for 2 different keywords, one for the bodysuit, one for the armor, so you can color them independently. And I don't know why that's open. Anyway, let's see, where were we? So we can optionally create the AP keyword, which I'm not going to be doing because I'm reusing one. Next up is a material swap. So this is where the nitty-gritty gets started for changing it from a default armor add-on. You come down here to add, scroll down to your material swap. Now I'm going to do all 4 colors, so there's going to be some duplication in here, which makes it go really quick. If you're going to be doing a whole bunch of different colors. I recommend have a list of the colors you're going to start with. Create all your material swaps at the beginning. Just makes your life a little bit easier because you can copy and paste a whole bunch of stuff. So first I'm going to give it a name. We're going to call this one actually tutorial red. And then our base material is going to be the file name that's actually in our NIF file. So that's why I left our NIF scope open here. I have selected the piece that we're going to be texturing here, or material swapping. And we come down to our area where it shows the material file. Now I'm just going to go here and edit and just copy and paste this because it's nice and easy to do that. You do not, and I recommend you don't put on the materials folder name because it won't work. So we'll go in here, edit, put that in, and I'm going to put it in both. Now, I did skip ahead, and I assume that you already have all your material files created. You can do the ESP editing first, you can create them later, it doesn't matter. I already have them made, so I'm just going to use the same file names that I have in there. Since I have one specifically for red, I'm going to go ahead and copy that, and I'm going to put that in right here. So now anytime that this material swap gets activated, regardless of what the default color is, in fact this file doesn't even have to be existing in order for it to swap to the red. As long as the NIF file that's loaded for the model references that name, it'll automatically swap it to this when this material swap is activated. Now once I've got one created, I'm going to go ahead and just copy this to be all the other colors. Put it in here. And let's see, so we did blue, we're going to do gray. And then we got our hot pink. So now we're going to have to collapse and then, whoops, okay, that didn't work. Expand it back out, so now we get all of them. From here we got to go in and actually change the references. Let's see, where's our blue? Whoops. Okay, really, I can't select today. Go blue, and we got our gray, where was it? Whoops, and I totally did the wrong one. It was actually body blue. Good point that I'm paying not much attention here. Alright, then we got our gray. And we're going to have our pink. Alright, just go recheck. I got red, blue, gray, and pink. Alright, so now we got all our material swaps ready. Next up is going to be our optional miscellaneous items. I'm going to go ahead and create those so that you know how. These are used so that when you actually switch to one of the mods, it creates a miscellaneous item that goes in your inventory. You know what? That's why I have this right here, so we can just copy it really quick. So we're going to take a copy of the vault suit insulated lining. Doesn't really matter which one you use, I'm just using that. So let's see, we're going to call that red, put that in there, re-extend, go find our red. Okay, so here we're going to change this to be suit red. Let's see, and since we're going to be able to craft these for free, I'm going to have a 0 value and a 0 weight, since it's basically just a cosmetic paint job. We're not actually changing anything important. You could choose to have weight or value if you're doing mod attachments for, say, a weapon like a scope or something. You might have an actual weight and value associated with that. You will need to specify weight and values in the actual objects that are the object modifications, the OMODs right here. That'll be added when the item is actually equipped. This is just for the miscellaneous item that goes in the inventory when you remove it. So anyway, we're going to make copies of those for each of the colors. So we'll do blue, put that in our file, copy it again. We're going to go gray, oops, and pink. Collapse it back down and go edit. We actually don't have to change anything between them because the only thing that changes is the actual editor ID. So next up is going to be our actual object mod. So we're going to go ahead and do these manually. So right click, go to add, we actually should right click on the ESP. If you do it somewhere else, it's going to add, of course, wherever you right-clicked on. So we wanted from the base ESP to add it in as an object mod, since I don't already have that category here. So let's go find it here. There we go. And add in an item. Again, give it an editor ID. We're going to call this omod to red. And let's see. Actually, let's give it a name. Why not? Because we're going to need to show a name. We'll call this suit red also. And we're going to go add data. Now this is where we actually got to pay attention. The form type, this one, hit F2, and you can easily select ARMA. Keyword, you can actually hit F2 and select it. It doesn't take very long to load the list. Or you can type in the keyword. Since I said I was going to be using the gun barrel, I'm going to use that one here. Specify it. Come down to properties and add. That will automatically increase our property count, so we don't have to worry about it. Value type, you're going to change it from integer to form ID integer. Change the function type from set to add. Change the armor property from enchantments to material swaps. If you wanted to add in extra weight or other magic effects or something like that, you would add in additional properties. For now, I'm just going to do the material swap of our red, so I'm going to copy that. Come down, I'm going to right click and edit because otherwise it takes forever to load, so I don't want that to happen again. And we're going to change our value 2 to 1. So now we're pretty much done with this. We do need to add on our mname keywords, which is the MA keyword that we created up here. And that one is up here, so we're going to copy that. I'm going to right click again and edit just to make sure it doesn't freeze up on me. And since I created the Misc item here, then we're going to go ahead and add them in as the L name. So we're going to right click and where's our misread? There's red. And add. Now there's a reason that I am doing each of these sections and doing the duplications in each section before I move on. And that'll be very apparent right here when I do a copy. So we're going to do blue. And then gray, and I'm keeping them in the same order. That's kind of important for the way that I do this, and I'll show you now exactly why. And why didn't that load? Okay, do that again. There we go. So first thing, we're red, everything's fine. So we'll go to the blue. We're going to change our name so that it actually shows blue in the game when we actually go to it. Right now I'm going to need to change our form ID that we're swapping to, so we can right click and edit. And since they're all sequential, if we actually look at it over here for material swaps, they're all in numerical order. So instead of having to go copy paste, I can just come back, change it, it changes. Same thing down here, and I just increment that by 1. So now I've just changed that, which actually I forgot to change the names on all these. So let's go do that really fast. We actually had names that we didn't need, but we're going to go ahead and change them. Blue, gray, and red. I'm sorry, not red, pink. Okay, back to our other stuff here. So we can go edit, increment that to, was it 6? And then make that one A. That's going to be 7. And B. So now recheck. I got a red, 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 and red. Go blue, got blue, 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 blue. And forgot to change it up here. Gray, 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 and pink, pink, pink. Alright. Next up is going to be our construction objects. Since we already have a category, and since I don't need all the details of all of this, I'm not going to make a copy of this. I'm just going to make a new one by hand. For doing the material swap objects, it's actually pretty simple. So we're going to give this color, and then we're going to come down. The only thing we need is created object and counts. I'm going to create one, and the created object here is going to actually be our object mod. I'm actually going to copy that. And then I'm going to duplicate that. Blue, gray, pink, and blue. Alright, so now all of our objects are created. Now we're ready to go back and update our armor. This is important because we have to add in the MA keyword here that we created. So we're going to right click and add. Then we're going to edit, and we're going to put in the MA keyword that we have over here. And I don't feel like going back to copy it, so I'm going to type it in wrong. There we go. So now we have our MA keyword, which lines up so we can do filtering. From there, we're going to come down and add in a part under the first OBTE. That's the one that has the 1 on it, not the 0. So we're going to add in a part. Notice that this does not increment the parts count automatically. We'll have to go back and change that. If you were doing multiple different attachments, you'd want to add them all in, count them up, and then add them rather than just changing it once. And this would be 1 for each category. What that does is so that when you create the object, if you craft it, if you use a console command, if you are given it as a quest in game, it will automatically assign the mods to the item. Otherwise, if we don't, since I'm reusing the gun barrel keyword, it would show barrel as the category name in the mod window with nothing there, and it's a little confusing when it's on a piece of armor. Anyway, so we're going to come down, change the mod. We're going to give that the red one. And I think that was it. Let me just double check. I'll be right back. Okay, actually I'm sorry, we do need to add on a flag. So we add a flag of 1 and change our parent count to 1. At this point we are ready to save it and test it in game. So we'll be right back once I do that. Let's save. Okay, so I realized I forgot to add something on when I did this. Under armor, we added in our MA keyword, but I totally forgot to add in an APPR keyword. So that was the gun barrel that we were going to use. I'm going to add, edit, add that on, so we actually get the category ID. We're just going to double check that our OMODs are all using gun barrel. Yes, save, and we will try that one more time. I'll be right back. Okay, so now that I've got it loaded up with the new ESP again, Kerry, get out of the way. We're going to go ahead and make ourselves our tutorial armor really fast. And then we're going to go into our craft station, and here we have our suit colors. So if I equip our blue, and then if I was to go back to red, it now shows that I can attach mod instead of having to create another one. So I'm going to go ahead and create all the colors, we'll leave it on the gray, and we'll actually go ahead and equip that, so we can see what the gray looks like.
Constantly trying to kill us, but
and we'll go ahead and easily switch it back to, let's say, the blue. You can see it already switched the colors. And we'll go ahead and try the pink, just because, why not? And you can see that one really easy. And that's it. So I hope that took care of any questions. Leave comments if you have any questions, or hit me up on Nexus or something. That's it.